Last night's preseason game saw the Golden State Warriors go up against the Sacramento Kings in their first of two that the teams will play against each other. As some of you know, I don't particularly believe that these two teams are close with regards to talent, though many media pundits think these two teams will be somewhat close as far as seeding is concerned, so I will discuss this game with that in mind. I wasn't expecting the game to go the way it did, but such is the nature of a preseason game. There are a lot of interesting takeaways, and the game was entertaining from start to finish. The Kings ended up winning the game by 1 point, but here's why the Warriors have no need to worry after losing this game. Alright, let's get to that intro. Hey everyone, what's happening? This is Swish, and today I'm going to be discussing Steph Curry's performance individually, along with the rest of the team's performance tonight against the Sacramento Kings. As can be expected, there were a number of things to be excited about for the season, and there are a few issues as well to be concerned about. These concerning issues could well be ironed out as the season gets going, but they could just as easily pose a problem for the Warriors if left untended. The good thing is that the franchise has an incredible front office, and with the ability to make assessments later on in the season, will be able to fine-tune the team personnel and give coach Steve Kerr the proper tools, players needed to make the most of a playoff run. That being said, there are a few players I am higher on than others, and I will be discussing that here as well. As a preface, there was no Draymond Green, no Eric Paschall, and no James Wiseman in this game, so obviously the team likely would have done better if these three had been able to play. That aside, the Warriors came out firing in the first half of the first quarter. I unfortunately wasn't able to make the first few minutes of the game, but let's just say the chef got cooking early. There was good ball movement, and there were many instances of guys getting open looks. This is very good because as a team starts to build chemistry, a major part of learning to play with each other is they learn to find each other in their spots. The Kings did stage a comeback in the second half of the first quarter, however, after Buddy Hield capitalized on some confusion on defense between Steph Curry and Kelly Oubre. On the next possession, another defensive breakdown where Wiggins left his man unguarded and went to triple team Bjelica at the basket, allowing him to pass to a wide open Buddy Hield for another three. Again, both miscommunication on defense and overhelping can and did lead to disaster. This set the stage for the remainder of the first half of the game. The Warriors, while they were able to get to their spots, kept missing open looks. Meanwhile, Buddy Hield and Kyle Guy were knocking down threes for which the Warriors had no answer. Heck, even Hassan Whiteside was giving us some trouble in the paint, which is the glaring issue as to the reason why the Warriors need Wiseman in the first place. The Warriors lineup without Wiseman is just too small. His presence on the court, rookie or not, will make a huge difference, as Chris literally just stood there watching Whiteside grab some of those offensive boards. Imagine if Wiseman was on the floor. Those buckets would become highly contested. The Kings ended up taking the lead, then widened the margin to 19 points in the third quarter. By the end of the third quarter, however, the Warriors had whittled this lead down to single digits. The fourth quarter saw the Warriors bench put the pressure on the Kings bench, erasing the Kings lead entirely for a 21-point swing off a dunk by Damian Lee. Unfortunately, the Warriors were just not meant to win this one, as Kyle Guy, who had been on fire from deep, armed with nothing but a prayer and less than half a second, launched a 30-footer with a hand in his face and hit nothing but the bottom of the net, putting the Kings up by one at the buzzer in an absolute miracle. Now, throughout the games, there were a number of miscues that ended up coming back to haunt the Warriors. not rotating properly on defense, triple teaming a guy in the paint while leaving three-point shooters unguarded on the perimeter. Steph Curry finished 29 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds, shooting 38% from 3 and 52% overall in 28 minutes of play. You can certainly see where this team is missing Klay, in that Steph is taking a lot more three-point shots. While this wasn't his most spectacular display of efficiency from 3, I expect him to carry the bulk of the scoring load going into the regular season until guys like Wiggins and Oubre can get going. Steph did look to be in good shape, able to get up and down the court without issue. He didn't seem tired and, as usual, still able to put plenty of sauce on those finishes. Kelly Oubre had an okay showing tonight, playing good defense and showing his ability to make perimeter shots and get to the rim, even getting some of Steph's misses for putbacks. He plays with high IQ, trails the plays, and always has his head on a swivel. While Oubre can typically guard the other team's point guard, it can be difficult for him to stay in front of quicker guards such as De'Aaron Fox. In situations such as this, the help defense should be at the ready to prevent wide open baskets. As Kelly shakes some of the rust off though, he'll surely be able to maintain his footing and likely even recover and contain his man. I'm not overly concerned about his ability to stay with most of the league's guards. If I could say anything about Oubre, it's that he could have done a bit better on his free throws, but knowing his work ethic, this is definitely not lost on him. Oubre finished the night with 12 points and 5 rebounds in 24 minutes of playing time. If not for Juan Toscano-Anderson, of all the starters in last night's game, Andrew Wiggins would have left the most to be desired. He struggled with guarding Buddy Hield, who is a known three-point threat, at times leaving him to shoot wide-open threes. He also struggled on the offensive end, not only having trouble evading his defender to get open, but in some cases allowing his defender to cover him and cut off Looney's drive to the rim while clogging the paint. With 12 points and 4 assists in 26 minutes of playing time, I think this is on the low end of what we can reasonably expect from Wiggins. Due to Draymond Green and Eric Paschall being out for the game, Steve Kerr had to dig deep into the annals of the team's reserve to pull out Toscano-Anderson for the start. Shades of the 1550 days. While Anderson hustles on the court, he is still a fringe rotation player that struggles on the offensive end. He has in the past had some bright spots where he certainly looked like he could crack the regular rotation of the team. However, this game shows he still has a ways to go. Anderson finished with 3 rebounds and 4 assists in 18 minutes of playing time. While it was good to see KEVON Looney on the floor healthy, he didn't have much of an impact in this game compared to prior years. He will still need time to get his legs under him. He didn't really seem able to get much space, but I'll have more on Looney once he gets going in the regular season. We know this guy is typically good on the defensive end and can certainly add to our offensive presence with Draymond on the floor setting him up. He did have a nice finish at the rim, which tells you that his skills are still there, but he's got even more rust to shake off, as Loon hasn't really been healthy for quite some time. While KEVON Looney was having a difficult night, Marquise Chris dazzled with a good shooting performance, dropping in 3 threes, scoring 17 points in 19 minutes of playing time while grabbing 9 rebounds. Unfortunately, when he was matched up with Whiteside, you could see he struggled defensively. He is still a player that can come off the bench and provide some energy to the team, and still is in a good spot. As long as Kerr takes his matchups into consideration, we could get valuable minutes from Chris, maximizing his impact on the floor without losing too much on the defensive end. My low light of the game was Brad WANAMAKER. I was never really high on WANAMAKER on this team, but I do want to give him a chance to see what he can do. This game saw him have a few lapses on defense and passing misreads, so I am not expecting too much. I think the Warriors would be better off further developing Jordan Poole for that spot, as he has shown the commitment to getting better and he does have a higher ceiling. I believe the Warriors took WANAMAKER as a floor for Steph's backup minutes, and he will likely be the better option in the very short term. But as I mentioned in my other video, with the work that Poole has put in, I see him getting those minutes over Wanamaker at least later on in the season. Though Jordan Poole had an off night, I'm expecting the Warriors to eventually cut Wanamaker once they've built up enough confidence in Poole to handle backup duties. Wanamaker finished with 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists on the night in 18 minutes of playing time. Bazemore, Mannion, Lee, and Mulder all chipped in as well. Though as we progress into the season, we can get a better idea of what to expect as Steve Kerr figures out his rotations. This team has been through a lot of players recently and will have to find its new identity. It is unfortunate that Draymond hasn't been able to play in these preseason games, so I expect to have a few kinks to work out in the first few games. Any early season win should be very good for us, but we should also learn from the losses as well, as this will show us where our weaknesses are so we can address them and become better. The latter half of the season will be much less forgiving and will not allow us much room for mistakes, as other teams will likely be performing much better as well. And one last thing, don't expect James Wiseman to come out playing as the all-star level David Robinson on day one. Expect a few hiccups and defensive breakdowns, and expect Steve Kerr to call those timeouts. He should, however, get plenty of minutes playing against the other team's bench, and hopefully many of those minutes will see Draymond on the floor with him. This should maximize his growth potential considering the team situation. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, don't be afraid to leave them down below. All I ask is that you be respectful. Special thank you to my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. That's all for today. Till next time. Swish.
A block so hard, Smitty gets served. Call me Lonzo Ball, bitches get swerved.
Usually I don't get down with these girls, but tonight it's on my mind, so I might eat these words. I just wanna